Does the defense have any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor. At this time, the defense rests its case in chief.
We have reached the point in the trial now where we will have closing arguments by counsel, and under the rules, the defense will go first.
Yes, Your Honor. When an author crafts a story, he gets to create his hero and villain. Throughout the chapters of her life, the hero will face and surpass many obstacles, but only this isn't a novel. This is real life. This is Jordan Simon's tragic life. Sometimes the hero has to battle herself. Sometimes there is no happy ending. And sometimes there isn't even a villain. At the beginning of today's trial, my co-counsel, George Zindel, came before you in opening statements and told you that despite the plaintiff carrying the burden of proof in today's case, Rough Grouse High School, this will make clear to you 3 key points. First, EPO is difficult to catch. Second, Jordan Simon was always 2 steps ahead. And third, Rough Grouse High School went the extra mile. Now I'll discuss each of these with you to clearly illustrate how the plaintiff failed to reach a burden of proof in today's case. Now, that first point, EPO is difficult to catch. Mr. Foos stood before you in his opening statement and told you $80. $80 was the amount that one drug test would cost. But as you've heard, that drug testing system that the plaintiff relied so heavily upon isn't required by law. No high school in the state of Pennsylvania is required to drug test. Rough Grouse High School wasn't required by law to drug test. So no high school in the state of Pennsylvania drug tested. So Rough Grouse High School cannot be held to such standard of care. Now that's the second point. Jordan Simon was always 2 steps ahead. Jordan Simon knew that in order to win it all, she had to hide it all. So she kept this dirty little secret in the dark from everyone and anyone. She knew that if her mother, Mrs. Simon, were to find out, she would never look at Jordan the same way again. And she knew that if Rough Grouse High School were to find out, all of her Olympic dreams would be crushed. If she didn't tell her mother, Mrs. Simon, about her EPO use, if she didn't tell her best friend, Miss Pierce, about her EPO use, it's no wonder she didn't tell her track coach, Coach Terry Swift. To put it simply, Jordan Simon fooled everyone. Now, that third point, Rough Grouse High School went the extra mile. Now, as I said earlier, Mr. Foos stood before you in his opening statements and told you that $80 could have saved the child's life. But what Rough Grouse High School did was priceless. What Rough Grouse High School did was take the most expensive tool at their disposal, which was their $30,000 education, and use it to prevent performance-enhancing drug use. Rough Grouse High School shared its wisdom with all of their students of all the reasons not to do performance-enhancing drugs. Wisdom is so important. It's vested right here in the courtroom. Rough Grouse High School educated its coaches through their workshops every year detailing the dangers of performance-enhancing drugs. Rough Grouse High School educated its parents through various literature they send home every year. And Rough Grouse High School educated its students using their $30,000 education to keep them safe and to keep them away from drugs. Rough Grouse High School has a better approach of preventing performance-enhancing drugs than the state of Pennsylvania. But we know at a time like this, it's normal to feel a need to blame. And that's why we empathize with Mrs. Simon. We know that with the death of Jordan, Mrs. Simon will never get that storybook ending she deserves. But justice cannot be dispensed indiscriminately. Blame can't be placed where it doesn't belong. And Rough Grouse High School cannot be held liable for following the law. That is why we ask you return a verdict in favor of the defense, affirming the truth, not every tragedy has a villain. Thank you.
The plaintiff may give their closing.
Yes, Your Honor. May it please the court? $80. That's all it would have taken for Rough Grouse High School to buy one drug test that could have saved the life of Jordan Simon. $80. You learned today that Rough Grouse charges each of its students $30,000 per year per student to attend its school. And this $80 drug test would not have even amounted to 1% of one student's tuition. But nevertheless, the defense witnesses took the stand today and attempted to tell you that these drug tests, that they were too expensive, that they simply weren't in the budget. For members of the jury, Jordan Simon lost her life at the hands of Rough Grouse High School. And her life was priceless. See, Kelly Simon took the stand today, and she told you about Jordan, the daughter that she loved and still loves. She told you about Jordan's talent. She told you about Jordan's potential. And she told you that she trusted Coach Terry Swift in Rough Grouse High School to take care of her daughter. But, members of the jury, I ask you to keep this in mind, as you recall that Coach Swift took that stand today and essentially claimed that he did absolutely nothing wrong. But ask yourselves, is this the truth? For it was Terry Swift that neglected to call Kelly Simon to inform her that her daughter had fainted at practice, was suffering from constant headaches and moodiness. It was Terry Swift who simply wrote off Morgan Pierce's concerns that her best friend might have been taking a performance-enhancing drug. It was Coach Terry Swift that disregarded the article that athletic director Jamie Hager gave him, the article about EPO that Jordan Simon herself had printed. It was Coach Terry Swift that allowed Jordan to compete in the 2012-2013 track season without a signed consent form, the year that she died. And it was Coach Terry Swift that did all of this, acting as a representative capacity of Rough Grouse High School, thus making Rough Grouse liable. You see, members of the jury, in today's case, we as the plaintiff hold the burden of proof. And we must have proven to you through the preponderance of the evidence that it is more likely than not that Rough Grouse High School is in fact liable. Now, Attorney Zindel stood before you in his opening statement and elicited 3 contentions. He said first that EPO is hard to detect. But I beg you to ask the question, just because something is hard, does that mean it is automatically not necessary? We are dealing with students' lives here, and such complacency cannot be tolerated. Attorney Zindel also stood before you, and he said that Jordan Simon was always 2 steps ahead, essentially placing blame on a 17-year-old minor, an impressionable young girl who was pushed to drastic measures by an overzealous, victory-hungry coach. And finally, Mr. Zindel stood before you and said that Rough Grouse went the extra mile. But members of the jury, Rough Grouse didn't even start the race. Rough Grouse failed to maintain a drug-free environment for their students. Rough Grouse High School failed to follow their own zero-tolerance policy. Rough Grouse High School failed to implement drug testing of any kind. Rough Grouse High School failed to ensure that they had the proper paperwork to ensure eligibility. And ultimately, Rough Grouse High School failed to keep Jordan Simon safe, thus breaching their duty of care to her. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that is negligence. See, the defense witnesses took the stand. They attempted to convince you that drug testing wasn't effective. But their own expert, Aubrey Brady, took that stand and admitted that it has an extremely useful deterrent effect. But as you now know, these drug tests, they were never implemented because Rough Grouse prioritized victory over virtue. But ladies and gentlemen, when we're dealing with students' lives, that can't be the case. They made mention of this zero-tolerance policy, which you now know is zero tolerance by name only, for students are allotted not 1, not 2, but 3 strikes before they're even kicked out of their own respective sports. And perhaps the most startling statement that came out during trial today is that of Aubrey Brady, who referred to Jordan Simon as an oversight. Kelly Simon lost a daughter. Morgan Pierce lost a friend. And this world lost an amazing runner. And that is not an oversight. Members of the jury, Attorney Westerfer stood before you and said that not every tragedy has a villain, but this one does. Because Rough Grouse High School is to blame for the loss of Jordan Simon. And you, as the jury, are in an extremely unique position. You have the ability to give Jordan the justice that she so rightfully deserves. And therefore, I ask that you return with a verdict in favor of justice, in favor of the plaintiff. Thank you.